Today's sculpt class is really focusing in on back, glutes, and core. This is a great one if you want to work on your posture. I'm adding in a few props today, totally optional. I've got the Pilates ball, so grab one of these if you have them. If you don't have one of these, grab onto a small throw pillow, rolled up towel, you know the drill. And then if you've got ankle weights, which will turn into wrist weights later, put those on. If you don't have these, get some light hand weights nearby, 1 to 3 pounds. I recommend closer to 1 because we're doing lots of dynamic movements in today's class, and I don't want you to strain the neck. So those are our props. We're gonna start with the ball in hand, standing with feet underneath the hips. We'll start to grow really tall through crown of head and just take a moment to roll the shoulders down and back. We'll take the ball up over the head. Feel that lift up through the core. Take the ball into the right hand, circle it down by your side. Right knee lifts, find that balance immediately. Ball switches to the left. You place that foot down. Then we keep that ball on the left side, left knee lifts, and you place it down. Okay, alternating here, finding this march. You're keeping your neutral spine. Beautiful. Passing it back and forth. Don't worry if you mess it up. Starting to turn the brain on a little bit too here. Waking everything up, mind and body. Finding these big arm reaches. You can feel that lift out through the sides of the waist. We'll do 2 more. Last one. All right, this time you're gonna take that left knee back up, balls in the right hand, you twist and lower, twist and lift. So knee and opposite hand. Now, finding this rotation from the belly button up, hips stay level and facing forward. Inhale, reach. Give me 4 more. 4 and 3. Last 2 and 1. All the way overhead, start to lower those arms down, shoulders are down in the sockets, and then we roll this ball, hinge the hips back, and then allow yourself to fold all the way over the legs, letting go of head and neck. When you're ready, soft bend in the knees, we'll roll it all the way up, hands come back to that ball, reach them up long, grow a little taller. So we take the arms down, all the way down, start to hinge the bum back in space, flat back, flat back, flat back, and then round forward. You'll feel a nice opening through the backs of the legs and start to mobilize through the spine here. Inhale as you reach it up, get a little taller. And then hinge the bum back. Anytime we're working with the arms here coming overhead, you just want to watch that the ribs aren't puffing out. And if you feel any pinching in the shoulder at all, you can always limit the range of motion. So the arms don't have to come up by the ears. Hinge, hinge, hinge. This is our last one. Finding that alignment through both sides. And up. All the way up. Reaching the arms forward now. Take the ball into the left hand. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to take the arms back behind you. Switch. Keep it in the right hand. Switch it back. So arms are forward, and then you're coming into this extension. Beautiful. Soft bend in the knees, still thinking reaching tall through crown of head. Lift it up through the core. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Lots of mobility work, so if the ball pass doesn't work for your shoulders, you can always just take the arms into extension and then circle them back front. Flipping the palms up slightly as you take the arms behind you to pass that ball. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Taking it back forward, start to sit the hips down and back, hug that ball into the chest, find a rotation, and then lift all the way out. We rotate, sit it back. And then lift, reach forward. As you find that reach forward, I want you to think plugging the arm bones back in the sockets. So they're reaching behind you. So we're not allowing that chest to close off. Nice, open chest, open upper back. Inhale, bum widens. You find that space through the rotation. You exhale, connect to the core. Press down through the heels, starting to warm up the glutes a little bit more. 2 more. Last one. Holding down here, we reach and twist. It's a reach and twist. Now, if you want even more, start to take that reach a little bit higher so that the arms come up by the ears. It's a little bit more support through the back of the body. You have to watch those front ribs, that they're not puffing out, and you have to watch that core is not dumping down into the mat. So belly button's lifting up and away from the mat. Long back of spine. Beautiful. Let's do 3 more. Twist. Should feel nice through the spine to twist there. 2 more. Last one. Reach and step all the way up. We'll circle that ball down. I'm going to shift sides so you can see me better. That ball is going to come on the front of the left hip. Left palm is on that ball, finding this connection to your front hip flexor. The right toes will step back ever so slightly. Feet are about hip distance apart. Start to hinge the bum back in space. You'll feel how you compress the ball and then press up through that left heel. Okay, so we inhale. Ball will constrict how low you go here, but make sure you're finding that tension on the ball. It's not really working anything. You're just kind of setting up for what we're going to do, which is going to be holding the ball between the torso and the thigh. So we're finding this hinge pattern, nice flat back, bum widens. You press up through that left heel, find that left glute. 3 more. Lifting up through the core, connecting glute and core together. 2. On this last one, you'll hold it down and back. Make sure that ball is really nice and snug there. Arms can come to hips or forward in front of you with palms facing back. Roll the shoulders down and back. Weight is in your left heel, so you can step right toes back and then pull them in. Right toes are back. Pull them in. So we're holding onto this ball. If it becomes cumbersome, let it go. But it's a great tool here to remind you to keep this forward hinge so we can really tap into this left glute. It's also a great reminder for the core. So I don't want you to dump your core into the ball. Of course, we're holding on there, but that's with the hinge. The core is actually lifting up away from the ball, so you feel light. We'll start to add a wide row as you step the right toes back and lower. Nice wide flat back. Feel how the shoulder blades come together. You've got 3 more. Starting to build that stability in the front leg. 2. At any point, if it becomes low back, you can lose that ball and come out of that hinge a little bit. Hold and pause. We open the arms up and then rotate them back. So the elbows stay exactly where they are. We're finding this rotation through the shoulders. Back extensors working to support this long line at the back of the body. 3 more. You got this. You can always adjust if you need. 2 more. Back toes are tucked under. Last one. Hold it open. Start to sink your weight back in space. Still staying in that hinge. Find a rotation and shoot out of that back leg. Forward hinge. Okay, so we're staying in that forward hinge, but it's a straight lunge. Then you come back into your bent lunge, shifting some of your weight into that back foot, but most of your weight still staying in that front heel. I know you can feel that glute now. Core is rotating you, obliques take you over, and then lift you out of it. 2 more. We've got one last piece after this, I promise, and then we'll release. Arms reach long. That right toe steps in and left hand taps it. Tap. So there's a little external rotation going on through that right hip. Can we go for 5? You've got this. Sink a little lower for 4. Lift the core out of the ball for 3. Feel under that arm for 2. Last one. Step it up. Press out of that front leg. Woo, you can see those wobbles. Grab onto the ball and we can roll over that staggered stance, allowing yourself to fall over the legs. Beautiful. Stepping the left foot in, bending the right knee. Maybe we open that left arm up. And then back to center, grabbing onto your ball. We'll roll it all the way up for the other side. This time the ball comes on the right hip flexor. Right hand is on the ball. We'll step the left toes back slightly, about half a foot. Feet are hip distance apart. Stack the spine, then start to sit the hips down and back in space. You feel that ball compress slightly, and then lift it back up. So we're connecting into that right glute now, keeping shoulders away from the ears. Inhale back, widen the bum. Exhale, press down through that right heel, drive the hips up, not forward, up. Okay, this is our last standing segment, and then we're gonna bring it on down. Really starting to light up this right glute so it's on for our balance challenge. 2 more. On this last one, you hold it down and back. Again, make sure that ball is nice and snug there. Arms can come forward, palms face back, hug the shoulders back. Step the left toes back, and then tap them in. Okay, so you really have to stay at this forward hinge. Think about squaring off the hips, and remember, core is on the ball. It's helping to keep it there, but it's light on the ball. I don't want you to let the core go into the ball or press it out into the ball. Definitely not. Think lifting up away from the ball while you maintain that forward hinge, which will naturally keep it there. Start to add that wide row and lower. Row and lower. Notice that one side might start to fatigue a little bit more quickly than the other. That's normal. 2 more. If you lose the ball, don't worry about it. Last one. Holding it back. Open the arms and then close them off. So you're taking the backs of the hands behind you and then palms face back. Backs of hands face back, palms face back. It's a rotation from the shoulders. We're keeping the elbows slightly beneath the shoulders to prevent any pinching in the neck. 2 more. I know we're feeling that front glute burning. It's supporting us. Last one, we hold this open. Start to shift your weight back in space. Find that rotation. And then press out of that back leg, out of the core to lift back up and in. So arms stay exactly as they are. You're just weight shifting back and twisting through the ribs from the belly button up. Hips stay squared off. Pressing out of the ball of the foot on that back leg, lifting up through the core. Find that length through abdominals. 3 more. Yes, you can. We've got 2. Make sure you're sitting that right hip down and back in space. We're not hiking it up to get out of that work. Last one. Holding it here, arms go lateral. Tap those left toes in, reach it out. Tap and in. We've got 5 more. I know you can do it. I want to get out of this so bad, but we're just going to go to the end for 4. Think about how the core can help you for 3. Connect in there. For 2. Last one. Press it all the way up. Grab onto that ball. Woo! Stepping the back toes in, and we'll roll all the way down, finding this staggered stance. You can adjust at the bottom as needed. Breathing here, letting head and neck hang, lengthening through the spine. When you're ready, step that back toe in, bend through the left knee, open the right arm up, finding this big rotation. And then coming back to center, grabbing onto the ball, soft bends in the knees as we roll it bone by bone, stacking the spine. All right, so we're coming on down to the mat. Before we come all the way down, now's your time to either grab onto those light hand weights or we're taking our wrist weights on. So get them ready just to get a little more upper body, but again, you don't need them to do this. You can always do this without. The ball is going to come behind the left leg, so take it behind that knee, hug it in there. Feet are hip distance apart. Arms are going to open up into a nice big lateral reach. We'll start with an articulated bridge, tucking through the tail, rolling up bone by bone. Arms come up over the shoulders, open back up, and then roll back down. So you're finding this hug in on the ball on the left side. Lift, lower, roll down. Back tips of the shoulders, staying glued on the mat as you lift those arms up, not allowing the chest to cave in, right? 2 more. And roll. Last one. Up, open out. Now hold the hips high. Shift your weight into that right heel. Left foot lifts, hip fold. Lower the hips down, lift, and then left toes tap. Pull in, lower down, and lift. You can always flip the arms back for a little more support. So taking palms down, and lower. Feeling front of core as you lift that knee, and core stability as hips and ribs lower as one unit. 2 more. Last one. Dip and lift. Now grabbing onto that ball, reaching left leg long, we circle the ball around, pass it under, reach, and under. You can always just take the ball to the chest if it feels okay. You're circling arms overhead. Keep pressing up into that right heel, staying nice and lifted, and try not to round the lower back through as you pass that ball under. 4 more. Yes, you can. For 3. Woo, burning. 2 and 1. Reach, lower it all the way down, reaching that right leg long. Maybe give it a little shake. And then when you're ready, we'll walk both feet in. Right leg extends, ball comes behind the right knee, both feet plant on the mat, opening your arms back lateral. Start to articulate up through the spine, holding at the top, arms lift, open back up, and then lower down. We tuck through the tail. Feel how the core helps to articulate up, lifting the hips. Arms lift and lower with control. All right, a few more here. We're really feeling that right glute from the other side. We'll have that opportunity to even it out. 2 more. Keeping back tips of shoulders glued on the mat. Last one. Open and lay those arms down. Press down into the left heel, right toes hover. Lower both hips and lift. Dip the right toes. Lift the right knee in. Dip the hips, keep them level and lift. So you really feel front of the right core pulling that leg up, and then entire core stabilizing that hip lift. We're not rolling anymore. Hips and ribs are lifting as one unit. Glutes, self-explanatory. You're feeling that left glute start to turn on, supporting this shape. 2 more. Oh my goodness. Last one, we've got this. We've just got one last layer after this. Holding up, grabbing onto that ball. So right leg can reach long, arms reach long. Circle it around, pass that ball under and reach. Circle, pass the ball and reach. Feel that core turn on as you pull that right knee in. Are we pressing up out of that left heel to keep those hips lifted? 3 more. Reaching long through the arms, feeling entire back body as well. Big long reach out of the core. Last one. Reach, lower it down. Both legs can go long. Finding a little shake. Stepping both feet in. We'll roll those hips up one more time. Taking the ball underneath the sacrum. So you want to think more upper glutes, not so much lower back. We'll step the feet out nice and wide. Elbows go wide, but they're underneath the shoulders. Palms face towards the knees. Reach the arms up over the shoulders and then pull them down. We reach up, pull them down. So you're focused on keeping your neutral spine here. So you're feeling that sacrum area press down into the ball to feel lower abdominals turn on. The harder you press down there, the more you will feel them turn on. Front ribs are in, so we're not puffing the chest out, especially as we take those elbows wide. You might be getting a nice massage through the upper back here as well. Imagine like you're pulling some really heavy weights down towards the floor. Emphasis on the pull. 2 more. Last one. Pull it all the way down. Hold that pull. We open the arms so backs of hands go to the floor, and then take it back up. Open up. Again, ribs are not puffing out. Nothing in the spine is changing. Can you keep that pressure down on the sacrum? Keeping neutral spine and lower abdominals engaged. Three more, okay? It might just be a few inches. Palms might not come all the way back, or backs of hands might not come all the way back to the floor, and that's completely fine. Elbows stay glued in one spot. Last one. One arm might be different than the other too. And then reach all the way up, lifting the hips off the ball, taking the ball into the hands, and then slowly start to sink the chest bone by bone. Spine lays down, hugging the legs together into tabletop. Little breathing space and lower back for our neutral spine. Now we reach the ball up overhead, take it into one hand as you nod through the head to curl up through the upper spine, pass the ball around the legs, and then take it back down, circle. Up and circle. You decide how low the arms go. Okay, we're passing in one direction and then I'll switch you around. Okay, maybe we start to switch directions, taking the ball in one hand to the other. The ball pass details really don't matter here. Just a fun little extra mind to muscle connection game, really turning on the brain, getting everything firing. But the core work is more important here. Belly button hugs up and in. We'll do one more like this, and then we'll advance this for one more layer. The next time arms reach long, we reach the legs long. Let's switch that pass back. So I'm passing from right hand to left hand. Left hand circles the ball overhead. My right hand passes under. Again, the details there don't matter as long as you're finding that ball pass and the legs are reaching long. Lowering down. Pull the knees back over the hips. Find that crunch, that ab curl without losing neutral spine. Let's reverse ball pass. Our last set here. We should feel the entire front of the core. I like to inhale long, exhale, pull in, but you can find the reverse if you need more support through this long reach. Find your exhale there, and then inhale into the ball. You find the breath pattern that works best for you. For 3, I'm feeling much more open in my back and shoulders now. 2. Last one. Beautiful job. We'll take the ball on top of the shins, hugging the knees in. Just give me a gentle rock side to side. And then when you're ready, we'll rock it all the way up. We're going to flip those legs around, bringing the ball in between the inner thighs. One note here is that we're going to come into prone, so you want to make sure the ball's not too forward because then it will get in our way. So make sure the ball is more towards the back of the thigh. Sitting the hips down and back into your child's pose for a moment, getting nice and long through the back body. We'll start to nod through the chin to roll the spine forward into our modified plank. Spine gets nice and long, tall on the arms. Bend the elbows in, lower down, and then lift, and then sit it back. Okay, so getting a little bonus arms in here, but I still want you to think back support. So you're nice and flat on the back. You're corkscrewing the arms so the elbow creases are facing forward to find serratus. supporting the sides of the body, stabilizing the shoulder blades. Let's do a few more here. And find how this is equal parts core too. So especially as you come to lift out of that, not only are you pressing down through the hands, think first core lifts up, 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 and then you press a little bit more into the hands. 2 more. Keeping shoulders away from the ears, last one. All right, we'll roll it forward one more time to bring it all the way into prone. And then lower all the way down. Okay, so on our bellies now. We'll take the hands closer towards the cheeks, hugging the elbows in, finding our neutral spine here. So tucking the tail under, lower back gets long. We're finding a slight pull in on that ball. And I want you to feel heavy through the fronts of the thighs more than the pubic bones, all right? Pubic bones are light. Start to hover both legs up into slight extension and then lower down. Okay, if the ball feels a little bit cumbersome here, like it's getting in your way too much, you can get rid of it. You'll feel how the range is really small because the ball is touching the mat. But you hug in on that ball, find that extension, find the glutes and how they connect into the core through the inner thighs. 3 more without pinching lower back. So think reaching those legs long more than you're thinking up. 2 more. Long first, then lift. Last one. And then lower down. Now, find a slight head hover off the mat. Back of neck is long. Legs are on the mat. You lift up through the core. Find a big inhale. Continue that press into the hands. Find your spine extension. And then lower back down. You can keep that head hover. Shoulders are rolled down the back. We lift up through the core first. Inhale, finding that expansion, and then press. I want you to think one long extension at the back of the body so we're not dumping into the lower back. So you might be staying down here or you continue up further, closer to your swan. You decide how far you go today. And then we're going to put the 2 together on this next one. Finding that press up. So the next time you lower down, get light in the hands, both legs lift. Lift up. And legs lift as you lower. If this feels too compressive, continue with one or the other, or take a little bit more time in between. You should feel no lower back here. Lower back's nice and long. Back extensors are working though. Glutes are working too. Last one. Lower the legs down. Arms reach long into a T. Roll the shoulders down and back. Find that head hover. Legs hug in on the ball to connect to the core. Lift the core away from the mat. Both arms lift off the floor. Lower them down. So we're looking down at the mat directly. Back of neck is long. We're not in extension here yet. We'll have an option to add that in. Amazing. Staying connected to the core. 2 more. Feeling that mid-back light up. Shoulder blades come slightly more together. Last one. Holding here. Now start to hug the arms in by the sides. Maybe you flip the palms, finding slight extension. And then take it back out into your T hover. Okay. I like to flip the palms here, but if you want to keep the palms facing down, you can. 3 more. It just works the shoulder in a different range, and I find I have a little more range to my extension with the palms flipped. Helps me stay a little bit more open. Last one. Holding here. Finding this extension. Lower the backs of the hands to the floor, or the palms. Lift. Lower and lift. Shoulder bones stay rolled down and back. Lengthening through the spine. Think reaching out through the crown of head, reaching out through the toes. Tailbone is slightly tucked under. Feeling the entire back body working here for you for 4 and 3. You've got this. Give me 2 and 1. And then roll forward, taking those hands by the chest. We'll press on up and sit it back into your child's pose. Maybe you rock the hips side to side, lengthening out through the back. We have one last working set here. We're gonna roll it all the way up to kneeling, grab onto that ball and come onto hands and knees to finish off, keeping those wrist weights on. This time the ball will come behind the right knee, so you can lengthen out through that leg, hug the ball right behind the knee. You can always readjust if you lose it. We'll hold it there, tucking the right toes under. Left foot can stay flat. Let's just take a nice cat-cow, inhaling, lengthening, and then exhale, round it up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round it up. And then find that shape in between, nice flat back. Shift your weight into your right hand. Left hand is free to find this lift side, and then fingertips lower. So it's a lateral lift to the side. You're having to take your weight into your left shin, right hand, to keep the core center. There's a lot of oblique work that goes into that without shifting your weight too far to one side. So you want to think knee stacked on top of hip, shoulder stacked on top of wrist, and then the entire mid-back lighting up every time you lift this arm to the side. 2 more. Keep that core pulled up away from the mat. Last one, I know, so much back body. Holding it there, start to kick that right heel towards the ceiling and then lower down. Now, if this is too much, you can always take that hand behind the lower back, or you can take it back on the mat for a little break. Up to you. 2 more. Keep that shoulder rolled down the back to keep it out of the neck. Last one. Holding that up. Start to rotate that right hip out. Left arm comes back to tap towards the heel. Then circle it all the way forward. Take that left elbow towards the right knee. Little rotation there. Reach it long. Rotate back. Reach it long parallel. Elbow towards knee. You can allow yourself to rotate and find a little spine flexion there as the knee comes to elbow. And then the rest of the time, you're in this nice neutral spine. Long, flat back. Hug it in. We should be feeling the entire core here. Right glute, maybe even left glute supporting you on the mat. A little right hamstring hugging in on that ball. And then right arm supporting you, left arm, especially underneath the armpit, lat working. Last one, holding it back, palm is up, we pulse it up and up. Rotate that right hip out in external for 4 and 3, last 2 and 1. Lower it all the way down. Take that ball out for a moment. You can just pop it front. We're going to sit back on the hips. Left leg is crossed under, right leg crosses over for a seated twist, getting both hips grounded down and towards the mat, then twist towards your right, over that right leg. Just taking a moment to release through the glutes and the spine before we go on over to the other side. One last deep breath here, wide into the ribs. And then exhale, we let it go. All right, coming back to hands and knees, our last working set here. We'll take that ball behind the left leg this time, back onto hands and knees, tucking those left toes under. We find that extension, lengthen, and then a round up. Just a few here to find our neutral spine and our alignment. There's a lot of moving parts in this one, so let's just make sure we've got our foundation. Finding that shape in between, nice flat back, including the neck. Shift your weight into that left hand, right fingers go side. You open that right arm up and then tap it down. Open and tap. So you'll find naturally you're pretty light on that left shin, left knee. The right leg is heavier. Left hand is pressing firmly out of the mat. Again, you can think corkscrewing the arm here so elbow crease is soft but facing forward and front. 2 more. Find that mid back. Last one. holding there. Start to take that left heel towards the ceiling without changing the spine. Now, if you need to take that hand down to the mat for a few, to get it going there, or maybe to the lower back for a little reminder, those are great places to take it. Otherwise, you're holding that connection in the mid-back, keeping your gaze down towards the mat, slightly ahead of you. Stamping that left heel towards the ceiling. 2 more. Keep that right arm lifted if you've got it out there. Using the mid-back. Last one, hold it up. Start to rotate that left hip externally. Take the hand towards the heel and then take it out to the front. Take elbow towards knee. Reach it long and rotate. Allowing yourself to find that rotation and flexion as you bring elbow to knee so they can connect here. And then you find your neutral once you reach and you're just isolating through the shoulder and the hip joint. 4 more like this. Stay lifted, using the core out of that left arm so we're not sinking into that shoulder. You've got this. Last one. We're gonna hold it back in that position. Arm is an extension. We've got that external rotation of the left leg. Give me 4 and 3. You've got 2 and 1. And lower it all the way down. Taking that ball out to the front. Sit those hips down and back. We're sitting onto that right leg underneath, left leg crosses over. Find that levelness across both hips. And then we'll rotate open over that left leg towards the left. Think reaching tall through crown of head. And just finding a little release through the spine after all of that extensor work. Whew, we made it. We'll release, finding that ball, coming into supine with the ball in between the shoulder blades for a little opener. Once you're there, you can take the legs into your butterfly if it feels good. You can also take the arms out long and lateral, and you can play around with the position that the ball is in. It might be right between the shoulder blades, more mid-back, or you can take it higher on the upper back. Wherever you feel like you need a little bit more opening. And we're just going to breathe into this, allowing the wrist weights to kind of weight the arms down and pull the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe you take a peek over one shoulder and then a peek over the next shoulder. One more look each side. And then taking it back to center. When you're ready, you'll roll off this ball, grabbing onto it, reaching it on top of the chest. Feet go wide. We'll just do one roll up, bone by bone, really massaging through the spine. And then laying it back down, again, massaging through each back muscle there. Knees can rock over to one side and then the other. Maybe the arms go in opposition, finding a slight rotation. They stay nice and stiff there, so the rotation is coming from the ribs, not the shoulder joint. So if you're bending the elbows here, you'll be rotating through the shoulder. You can get the arms all the way down to the floor. It's not really doing much for you. Think back tips of the shoulders, staying glued down as you rotate. One shoulder lifts up slightly. Rotation from the ribs, massaging through the back of the butt. Really finding a nice release here. We'll do one more each side. Last one. And then when you're ready, we'll hug those knees in, nodding up through head and neck. We'll roll it on up. And that was your sculpt focused on back, glutes, and core. I know you felt it because I did. Let me know how it felt in your body, and I will see you on the mat soon.